MTN's ambition as part of our Ambition 2025 strategy in the B2B space, in the enterprise space, is first and foremost, to be relevant and bring the assets we already have in the connectivity space, and then to move up the stack, especially, in the ICT arena. So we are looking at, as part of our ambition, to look at the ICT environment from a data center perspective, platform-driven offerings from a unified communication perspective, the security, IoT are some of the key areas as part of ambition that we are focusing on. The ambition that we have in the mining is to leverage, the challenges that we see in Africa for the mines is very different to some of the other industries, but our ability then, ambition is to work with our ecosystem partners, to create solutions over and above just connectivity, but more importantly to bring the transformative technologies that look at the digitizations of mines across all the countries that we operate. I mean, as MTN, what we are trying to achieve this year, in the mining Indaba, is first of all to understand, to interact with the ecosystem, to understand with the mines, to understand with everybody that's participating across the borders, across different countries, continents, to understand the trends, the challenges, to learn, what are some of the solutions that's already working, but more importantly, together with our partners and with our clients, to position the possibilities that exist, to look at how do we approach the co-creation from a solutions perspective that can bring better relevance to the mining industries. If we look at the mining outcome and the mining use cases that we are solving, whether it is around the operational efficiency, whether it's around safety, whether it's around planning, whether it's around exploration, pretty much across the board from a mining perspective, we do work with a lot of partners, and the partners we kind of categorize whether there are a lot of partners around the OEMs, that bring the technology, that is quite relevant. Then we work with a lot of system integrator partners, where there is a very niche skills looking at the different integration points, etc. We then also look at partnership from a consulting perspective, which is a very deep domain. And then finally, we also partner with a very strong domain, application providers that are very niche to mining. So MTN's participation in the mining space and the collaboration with the government becomes very important, because on the ground, the execution of all these different solutions, the co-creations that we're talking about, is challenged by some of the ground realities. Whether it is policy-driven challenge, whether it is regulatory-driven challenge, whether it is the value chain and the speed of execution challenge, whether it's the change management challenge, how do we work with the government? I mean, as MTN, in all the countries in Africa that we operate, we are number one or number two. We work very closely with the regulators and the governments. Sometimes the policies might be outdated, but how do we then work with the mining sector, with the policymakers, to make the shift? And we look forward to continue to collaborate, with the mines and all the other parties that are involved outside, not just the technology, but over and beyond the technology. Another good example is sustainability. When we look at the sustainability and the different parameters of sustainability that most of the mines are chasing, in collaboration of the government, how do we get to that outcome? By 2030, we want to have a 0% carbon emission. So how do we then leverage, together with the government to kind of look at this transformation for some of the mines?